Number 8. Fake gasoline prank. On May 18th, 2023, a mischievous YouTuber posted a prank on his channel that took the internet by storm. This bold content creator decided to spice things up by approaching unsuspecting car owners and pouring what seemed like gasoline on their vehicles. But little did he know that this prank would escalate into a dark and potentially lethal encounter. Prank videos have become a sensation on social media, often pushing the boundaries of good taste and making unwitting victims the stars of the show. In this particular case, the situation took a perilous turn, teetering on the edge of disaster. Our unknown YouTuber armed himself with a can of gasoline and eagerly awaited the return or departure of car owners. Then, without considering the consequences of his actions, he doused the hoods of these vehicles, hurling insults and mocking his unwitting victims. Adding to the tension, he brandished a lighter, pretending to ignite the cars before ultimately being chased off with his fake can of gas. However, the prankster's luck ran out during his second try of the joke. As an elderly gentleman made his way back to his trusty pickup truck, the YouTuber struck once more, unleashing his fake gasoline upon the hood. This time, though, the victim was not about to tolerate the young man's shenanigans. Confronting the YouTuber face to face, the elderly man revealed his hidden weapon, a gun. He did not initially point it at the jokester, but made it clear that he was ready to escalate matters if needed. Unbothered, the content creator insisted that the liquid was merely water and urged the older man to smell it if he didn't believe him. The gentleman checked to ensure it wasn't truly gasoline, but kept his grip on the gun just in case. And when the YouTuber's camera person attempted to smooth things over, the victim sternly ordered him to stay out of it. Muttering under his breath, the prankster said that the elderly man didn't really want to use his weapon, and the victim agreed. But he still had a few words for the YouTuber. As the video concluded, the prankster's target warned the young man that his antics could have had dire consequences. But instead of replying with an apology or a promise to never do it again, the YouTuber replied with a profanity-laden remark, adding a final F you as the man retreated into his truck. Fortunately, nobody suffered any harm during this unsettling encounter, but it serves as a stark reminder of just how horrible these types of videos can go. Unsurprisingly, this prank video set social media users into a frenzy, capturing the attention and opinions of countless viewers. Debates raged online, with some questioning whether the use of a gun was warranted, while others argued that it was an absolute necessity. And amid the online chatter, a curious tweet emerged, suggesting that the prankster bore a striking resemblance to an individual who had previously duped a homeless person by offering food, only to devour it himself. Some urged the YouTuber to reflect on the potential consequences of his actions and cease producing such videos, but few were convinced that he would acknowledge this wake-up call. Number 7. Unlawful use of a badge. In November of 2019 in Bradenton, Florida, a YouTuber known for his outrageous pranks took a plea deal after impersonating a police officer. Charles Ross, who is infamous for his antics, was sentenced to 6 months of probation for unlawful use of a badge, a first-degree misdemeanor. Initially facing felony charges, Ross found himself in trouble when he approached a woman and her children outside a Sarasota restaurant on April Fool's Day in 2019. Donning a police uniform complete with a badge and sergeant chevrons, he startled the woman by threatening to write her a ticket. But after a tense exchange, he revealed it was all a prank and offered her tickets to a concert. The woman then raised her voice in anger, attracting attention, and the man became more aggressive before driving away. A witness who spoke with the police after the fact confirmed the victim's narrative. Deputies then identified Ross through surveillance footage, linking him to his YouTube channel, Ross Creations, where he regularly posts prank videos. And this incident only added to Ross's history of encounters with the law. In 2013, he faced battery charges for giving wedgies to moviegoers, followed by disorderly conduct charges after leaping over deputies. But he managed to avoid further consequences in both cases. In 2014, he was arrested for pushing someone off a parade float. He was initially charged with battery, but the charges were dropped. Then, 3 years later, Ross was apprehended for removing stop signs, leading to grand theft charges that were later dismissed after completing a pre-trial intervention program. But despite his legal troubles, Ross maintains a significant online following, with over 1 million YouTube subscribers and a substantial presence on Facebook and Instagram. And while his pranks may entertain some, they often come at a high cost for Ross himself. Number 6. Over the Balcony. In 2014, popular YouTube prankster Roman Atwood posted a controversial stunt on his channel involving his wife and their adorable son Kane. And people were quick to point out just how upsetting the joke was in the comments. In this viral video, little Kane is having a blast, playing superhero while dressed as Spider-Man. Just as his mom steps out of the room, Atwood secretly replaces the unsuspecting child with a dummy, setting the stage for this dastardly prank. As Brittany, Atwood's wife, returns to the scene, she witnesses the unthinkable, her husband accidentally tossing their precious son over an indoor balcony. Of course, this throws Brittany into a panic, sending her racing down the stairs, desperately searching for her child, who she likely believes is injured. But it's only when she removes Spider-Man's mask from who she thought was Kane that the truth is revealed. It was all an elaborate prank. The video quickly amassed a staggering 6 million views in just a few days, igniting a fierce debate about the fine line between humor and crossing boundaries. Was it really a hilarious joke, or was it a step too far? Opinions on the matter clashed as viewers dissected the prank's implications. But Atwood, an experienced world-traveling prankster, has been sharing his outrageous antics on YouTube for years. Behind the scenes, Atwood and his sons were bursting with laughter, captured in a separate video showcasing the making of the prank. And in the slightly calmer atmosphere, Atwood admits to expecting a more dramatic reaction from his wife. But don't worry, Brittany, who has since recovered from the initial shock, pledged to exact her sweet revenge on her husband. While Atwood insisted that no harm was done and that everyone was safe, the prank's polarizing nature remains a hot topic of discussion to this day. Number 5. Titanic sighting leads to disaster. In Brighton, a county of East Sussex, a daring April Fool's prank involving a Titanic replica almost ended in disaster. A spoof company constructed a massive Titanic-like ship due to the success of the movie adaptation of the marine disaster, starring Leonardo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet. The makers of the ship then decided to sail it from Southampton to France, making it visible off the Sussex coast. So a local radio DJ from Port Slade-based Southern FM stirred up excitement by announcing the replica's appearance off Beachy Head to his listeners. But he purposely failed to mention that it was a model of the ship, not the real thing. Crowds rushed to witness the spectacle, only to be met with disappointment when they realized it was just a prank. Within an hour of the announcement, the parking spots in Madeira Drive were completely full, and people crowded around the area's cliffs and beaches to see the Titanic. However, the situation quickly took a perilous turn. The next day, on April 2nd, a 5-foot crack appeared on one of the Beachy Head's cliff faces, causing panic and leading to evacuations. Luckily though, the crack was caught by a patrolling officer, so nobody was hurt. The Coast Guard criticized the radio station for putting the public at risk, and in an interview with The Telegraph, 40-year-old Joyce Smart, who traveled with her children to see the ship, expressed anger for the time she wasted trying to catch a glimpse of the historic vessel. The station, however, defended its actions as harmless fun. Number 4. Now you see me, now you don't. The viral trend of parents pranking their kids with the invisible challenge is raising concerns about the potential emotional impact on children. Inspired by YouTuber David Dobrik's prank on a friend's younger brother, parents are using clever camera tricks and household objects to make their kids believe they've turned invisible, capturing their terrifying reactions on video. The prank works by taking a photo of the parent looking shocked next to an empty chair when the child isn't paying attention. Later, the child is asked to sit in the same chair, covered with a sheet or blanket, while the parent recites magic words. The sheet is then pulled off, and the parent pretends not to see the child, showing them the earlier photo of the empty chair. The intended effect is for the child to believe they've truly become invisible. However, many of the videos circulating online depict children crying in terror after falling victim to the prank. And in one instance, an 11-year-old girl named Ava becomes so distraught that her family immediately reassures her that it was just a joke to calm her down. But the original poster of the video, Michaela Cunningham, explained that Ava quickly recovered, laughing hysterically and acknowledging her family's successful prank. While some argue that the prank is harmless fun, others question the potential trauma inflicted on young children. It's crucial to remember that each child's reaction can vary depending on factors like age, imagination, development, and familiarity with their parents' playful antics. But ultimately, only parents who truly understand their children's personalities and emotional sensitivities can determine if such a prank is appropriate. Do you think the invisible challenge is just another harmless prank? Or do you think it could lead to life-altering consequences for the children involved? Let us know your opinion in the comments below, and while you're at it, subscribe to join the Badger fam. Number 3. Worst case scenario. In the aftermath of a tragic incident that took place on Clarks Hill Lake in Lincoln County, Georgia in 2001, a woman named Shantova Kirkland has been sentenced to a year in jail for her involvement in the drowning deaths of 2 men. The deceased individuals were identified as Ian Wilson and Edward Kirk Jr., and the case, which has left a profound impact on the victims' families and the community, has raised questions about the consequences of Kirkland's actions. According to reports, Kirkland had rented 2 boats for a birthday celebration on the lake. Unfortunately, though, she was unaware that Kirk, one of the individuals involved, did not know how to swim. Allegedly, Kirkland pushed Kirk into the water as a joke, prompting Wilson to jump in and attempt a rescue. But tragically, both Kirk and Wilson disappeared beneath the surface, and their bodies were discovered a week later. The devastating incident has had far-reaching consequences, leaving the victims' loved ones in grief and disbelief. Lakesha Johnson, Kirk's sister, expressed the profound impact of Kirkland's actions, stating that they were forced to relive the tragedy all over again during her trial. Multiple lives were cut short because of what she did, and Kirkland will have to carry the weight of that guilt for the rest of her life. The arrest warrant issued in 2021 accused Kirkland of consciously disregarding the safety of Kirk by pushing him into the deep cold water without knowing whether he could swim. The warrant claimed that her actions constituted a gross deviation from the reasonable standard of care that a person should exercise in such a situation. In her court appearance, Kirkland, who had known Kirk since she was 14 years old, expressed remorse for the incident and asserted that she never intended any harm. However, she accepted full responsibility for her actions and apologized to the court. And in the end, Kirkland was sentenced to 1 year in jail and given an additional 9 years of probation. Number 2. Israeli officers' April Fool's hoax. In a shocking incident that happened back in 1986, an Israeli intelligence officer was sentenced to 35 days detention by the Israeli army for spreading a false report to Israel radio. The report claimed that gunmen had attempted to assassinate Nabi Berri, a prominent Lebanese Shia Muslim leader. The event occurred on April Fool's Day, as the soldier intended it to be a prank, according to the army command. The soldier, using military wire service, released the report, which was then broadcast by Israel radio. The false information stated that Berri, leader of the Amal Shia Muslim militia and a member of the Lebanese cabinet, had been either killed or severely injured in the supposed attack. However, it was later revealed that the report was nothing but a hoax. Following the circulation of this fabricated report, Israeli military sources disclosed that Defense Minister Yitzhak Rabin took swift action against the soldier. Rabin interrupted a parliamentary committee meeting to address the incident and ordered appropriate measures to be taken against the responsible individual. As a consequence of the soldier's actions, the Israeli army sentenced him to 35 days detention. Even today, this incident serves as a reminder of the potential consequences that can arise from spreading false information, especially in sensitive political and security contexts. The case also highlights the importance of responsible communication, as well as the need to exercise caution when engaging in pranks that may have serious implications. Number 1. A real heart stopper. Tom Fawcett, a 67-year-old Perth resident, experienced a heart-stopping moment during a terrifying Halloween incident in 2010. As he was driving through Marangaroo, a group of mischievous youths targeted his car, pelting it with eggs. Caught off guard and startled by the sudden attack, Fawcett suffered a heart attack behind the wheel, resulting in a devastating crash into a nearby house in Greenwood. According to Teresa Batista, a concerned neighbor and eyewitness to the shocking events, the pranksters hurled eggs at the vehicle Fawcett was driving as they zipped past his home. Known around the area as a gentle soul, the usually calm man could not contain his anger, especially since he had just finished cleaning his vehicle. But little did he know that the heart-stopping fright would take an even darker turn. Fawcett wound up in an induced coma, with medical professionals closely monitoring his condition for any signs of brain damage. And sadly, this was not his first encounter with heart problems, adding another layer of concern to his recovery. The incident left Batista shaken to her core, prompting her to call for a complete ban on Halloween celebrations in Western Australia. She views it as an American import that brings danger and a sense of mistrust into the community. Halloween, in her eyes, is an unwelcome presence that Perth should do without. Reports indicate that Fawcett was in a stable condition following the incident, under the watchful eyes of employees at the intensive care unit at Sir Charles Gairdner Hospital. Authorities launched an investigation after the fact and recognized the damage inflicted upon the house due to the resulting car crash. But unfortunately, it's not clear if the responsible party was ever captured. Would you rather play a prank on a stranger, knowing that they would react physically and harm you? Or trick one of your family members, even if it meant their trust in you would be significantly affected? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time on Bad Badger.